Another Tuesday, another call-in show. What's going on, everyone? My name is Rodney, if you already knew that. Thank you so much for coming back and watching another video. We're going to play some voicemails. We've got some topics, Michael Mayer trade block talk, all that good stuff. If you're new to the channel and you're confused as to why this is a call-in show, well, look at this right here on the bottom of the screen. You can see the number 725-253-0264. If you call that number anytime, you can leave a voicemail and it could be played on this show. You can ask me a question about the Raiders, about movies, about life, about everything you want to talk about. I might get to it on the show. If you are a $5 patron, link in the description below to my Patreon, patreon.com/ALLaBorde Raiders. You have the chance to call in live while I'm recording. Last week, Omar Morales called in. It was an awesome time. We'll see what happens here around the next 25 minutes to half an hour. If any of my patrons want to call in, they can. If you want to become a member of the Patreon, here are the tiers. It's a $5 tier and a $10 tier. Link is in the description below, and it'll be the pinned comment. Other than that, you know, for the dog days of the content world for the Raiders, there's actually some decent stuff to talk about. And I got 4 great questions here, 4 voicemails that are going to push us in certain directions. We're going to talk about future quarterbacks for the Raiders. We're going to talk about the ceiling and the floor. We're going to talk about a potential trade for a blue chip corner. But before all that, I want to talk a little Michael Mayer because he was in the news this week. And he was in the news because every other player that's been traded seemingly kind of involves us, right? There were reports that maybe we were involved in the Jalen Ramsey of it all. He goes to Pittsburgh. Mika Fitzpatrick goes to Miami. Jonnu Smith, the tight end, goes to Pittsburgh, which means that, Miami needs a tight end now. Do they go after Michael Mayer? And all signs were leading toward the fact that they were kind of going after Michael Mayer. But there's a report here that came out. This is on Bleacher Report that discusses exactly what's going to happen with the Las Vegas Raiders and Michael Mayer. And it says, if I can scroll down here. Oh, why is that like off-centered? That's so weird. Oh, wait, I see. I know why. This is way too big. Whoa, we're going to edit on the fly here. Whoa, you see, there's a little peek behind the curtain. All right, there we go. Now we're cooking with gasoline here. All right. It says Michael Mayer trade reportedly doesn't interest Raiders amid Dolphins rumors. This is Julia on Bleacher Report. The Miami Dolphins' reported interest in Michael Mayer may not have been enough to push the Las Vegas Raiders to consider trading the tight end. Vinny B of the Las Vegas Review-Journal reported Tuesday today that the Raiders have no interest in trading Michael Mayer. Bonsignor was responding to a report from Miami Herald's Omar Kelly that the Dolphins have had their eye on Mayer for a while. The latest news is a change from what Vinny B reported in March when he wrote that the Raiders were trying to trade Mayer and that multiple teams were looking into a potential deal. Okay, I actually want to talk about that really quickly before we get into anything else here. So in March, they were looking to trade him. That's right when Spytek and Carroll were really starting to put things in motion. But since then, what has changed? Think about it. From March to now, what has changed for them to not be able to trade Michael Mayer or not want to trade Michael Mayer? It's not the lack of a market because clearly the Miami Dolphins are interested in him. What's changed is they saw him on the field practicing. They saw him working out in the locker room. They were able to speak to him one-on-one. And I think the idea that we've gone from, we're looking to shop him in March to July 1st, 2025, he's off the table. I think that bodes extremely well for the potential season that Michael Mayer could have because his market's still there. But now all of a sudden it's like, actually, we're going to keep you. So let's continue with this here. Mayer signed for the 2025 season at $1.6 million and only has $303,000 of his $2 million salary guaranteed for 2026. The contract would allow the Dolphins to fill in for Jonnu Smith, who was traded alongside Jalen Ramsey of the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday. Mayer, a second-round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, missed 6 games for personal reasons last season. He ended up having the season having made 21 catches for 56 yards in 11 games as the Raiders turned to rookie tight end Brock Bowers as their go-to option. The 23-year-old indicated he still saw himself staying in Las Vegas in a recent interview with the Raiders Podcast Network. He said the Raiders stand-in room of himself, Bowers, and newly signed free agent Ian Thomas was very close. We're a close-knit community, and we've had a great spring so far, and we're really excited to just help. I can't read a single thing today. to just help this football team in any way we can. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero reported shortly after the news of Ramsey and Smith trade broke on Monday that the Dolphins were in conversations with multiple teams about acquiring a tight end. If the Raiders don't make Mayer available this offseason, the Dolphins could ultimately try to facilitate another trade for a tight end like Chicago Bears' Cole Kmet. The Bears could potentially consider moving Kmet after drafting tight end Colson Loveland in the first round, blah, 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 blah. Who cares about that? Chicago Bears. I love this. I've also seen reports that Michael Mayer is going to have like a big-time impact in Chip Kelly's offense because we're finally going to run that promised 12 personnel that was promised to us when Luke Getsy got the job. Now, that wasn't his fault that Michael Mayer had to kind of leave for personal reasons, and then our third-string tight end wasn't up to snuff to be able to run all that 12 personnel stuff that we wanted to run. But now with Michael Mayer in the mix here, I actually am excited for the prospect of the season that he could have. And I've been a little skeptical just because it's like, I don't know, like when he plays, he's okay. But should we really spend this much time and energy on like focusing everything on the second string tight end? But you never know. There's a world where Brock Bowers, God willing, does not get injured. But if he does, you need Michael Mayer to be there to step up. And Michael Mayer, without a doubt, would be the best second tight end in the National Football League. Excuse me. So I love what I'm hearing in terms of not wanting to trade him. So look, that was like our little topic here. Now we're just going to get into the questions. I got 4 lined up here. Like I said, over the next 15 to 20 minutes, my patrons have the chance to call in. Any one of these beautiful people that signed up for the $5 or $10 tier can call in at any time and talk to me live on the show. If you want to become one of those people, links in the description below. It's also the pinned comment if you want to just sign up there. Also, hit that like button and subscribe. About 50% of you that are watching aren't yet subscribed. We hit 13,000. Let's get to 14,000 before the new league year. That would hugely help the channel tremendously, and make sure we're turning on those notifications. Let's listen to the first voicemail.
Yo, Rodney, this is JNZ720, also known as Raider Hicks, coming from the 209. Want to give you some props for holding down your channel and starting from the ground up. Hey, I just had a little bit of a question about being here from the 209. I'm waiting for the Raiders to come back and play at that Pistain Stadium of Levi Stadium and go to that game with some of my 49er friends. I noticed that when the preseason game came back that they have it in Allegiant Stadium, which was where we played last time. If you remember when Stidham rolled out and then he took that hit, got pelted by Tuafunga and hit Devontae Adams. But anyways, I was just wondering if they're not having any games over there in Santa Clara with the mighty silver and black, because I might have let the air out of a few overzealous 49er fans back in the day. No, really though, all bullshit aside, Raider Nation for life. Keep on doing it. Hey, get back to me and let me know. Thank you.
Raider Hicks coming in hot there against the 49er faithful. You know what's funny about this? Now, look, to answer your question, I don't know why or when we're going to play the 49ers next. I'm sure you can, or in San Francisco. Obviously, we played them 2 years ago. I'm sure you could figure out, like, oh, we play this division this year, and this is an away game, so in 5 years it'll be a home game, blah, blah, blah. I don't know exactly why that's happening. I will say this. It's so funny. And I'm not taking away any sort of malice that the people that grew up on the West Coast have against the 49ers. But it's so funny growing up on the East Coast like I did. I don't care at all about the 49ers. Like when the 49ers were playing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and a bunch of Raider fans were like, I don't know who to root for. I was like, I'm totally okay with the 49ers beating the Chiefs. Like I don't understand this. But I understand it's like a geographical thing. Like I grew up hating the Steelers. And the only reason was because I just lived with and around a bunch of Steeler fans. I've since kind of grown out of that. Now I kind of root for them as well. But it's just funny how the places and times you can grow up in can severely impact the hatred that you have for some of these teams. Like I have no ill will toward the 49ers, but I will say the last 2 times we've played them, I got a sty in my eye, excuse me. Last 2 times we played them have not gone well. Obviously, when we played them in Levi with Derek Carr, we lost to Nick Mullins. That was pretty bad. And then the other time, Derek Carr did not start the game as Jared Stidham. Stidham was awesome. He was making plays. He was running around. His wife was up there cheering him on. It was insane. Devontae Adams had that huge, 40-yard reception where he dove and he, reached and he was like, I got it, but he wasn't down yet. And then they went to overtime and lost. I think I was watching that game in an airport. The season was over at that point, so I didn't completely mind having to watch it in an airport. That was clearly before I was making videos on every single game because I was like, I'll just catch it in the airport. Now I would never do that. 49ers, I understand the malice toward them, but I don't have that myself because I didn't grow up on the West Coast, but it's totally valid. Thank you, Raider Hicks, for the question. Let's get to the next one.
Hey, Rodney. My name is Javier. I'm calling from Stockton. First time I'm ever doing, in one of those voicemail kind of things. So, yeah, interesting. But, basically, my question for you is, what do you think is, the realistic kind of, lowest floor, highest ceiling for the Raiders this season? Because last year, I basically said the Raiders were a high risk, high reward kind of thing, where it could easily not pan out the way we had kind of wanted to, especially with Minshew being at center or under quarterback. But I thought, okay, we have some pieces. We could support a quarterback if he starts to struggle with, Adams, Myers. We had Bowers and Mayer. So, obviously, it didn't work out last season. I'm curious what you think is, what's the gap between the lowest amount of wins we'll get versus the highest. All right. Thanks. Like watching your show.
Appreciate it, Javier. I just transitioned to that small screen because I didn't have the did I just mute that by accident? I did. Whoops. All right, whatever. Okay, so Javier's question, if we didn't hear the whole thing, I apologize for that, Javier, but I think we heard the back half of it. It's what's the ceiling, what's the floor for this team? Now, if you'll travel back with me in time to 2022, the first Josh McDaniels season, we went 6-11, right? The interesting thing is 9 of those 11 wins were by 7 points or less. So that team had a lot of things going well and just lost a lot of close games. Could that happen again this year? Sure. I think that Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly and Patrick Graham is a better unit than what we had before. And this team that we have now, I don't know if it's better than that 2022 team, but it's going to feel like a more cohesive unit. So do I foresee a world where we could play in a lot of close games and lose them? Yes, I do. But I don't think it will be 9 of the 11 losses that we have. I think the floor for this team is probably 7-10. And I think the ceiling is probably 10-7. Yeah, and you've mentioned the young guys that we have. It's just going to come down to does Dante or Jack or do Dante or Jack explode? If one of those two is I'm the wide receiver one, we can win 11, 12 games. If they don't do that, and if they're just okay, we're going to have to steal a game or two to reach the potential ceiling of 10 wins. But we can do that with the team that we have. Max Crosby, one play away from completely changing the game with a strip sack. Geno Smith played in big playoff games, against the 49ers a couple years ago in Levi, like Raider Hicks mentioned. So I think the floor is probably 10. Sorry, the floor is probably 7, and the ceiling's probably 10. I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry that we didn't hear the beginning of it. I apologize. Oh, this is a long one. I'm just going to let you know right now, this is a long voicemail, but we're going to listen to it because I like it.
Hey, Rodney. Long-time listener here. I've been with you since you were about 5K subs, I'd say. Really enjoy the content. Keep it up, man. One thing I want to say, too, is speaking on that, you should probably start streaming on Twitch and YouTube. I think that would really help your growth and stuff like that. But anyways, I wanted to get to what I want for the Raiders' future and the direction I think we should go. So first of all, I know we've been talking a lot about the possibility of trading for a Jalen Ramsey. I think that position is it's a big need for us, especially with the way our team's situated right now. The reality is you're not going to go far in the playoffs, and you're not going you're going to win some games, but you're not going to go very far in the playoffs, which we've learned with, Derek Carr. We're just going to be stuck in mediocrity, and it's just not going to go well for us. In the long run, at least, we still need to find a good piece, I'd say, in the draft upcoming. But anyways, back to my point. I think we should trade for Sauce Gardner. Young talent. He's got a big frame. Like I said, young, which is a huge plus, and we definitely have to give up a lot for him.
Okay.
But I think
so. I'm going to stop it right there, and then we'll play the rest of it in a little bit. First thing he mentioned was Jalen Ramsey. Obviously, this is from a week ago, so we can't trade for Jalen Ramsey. And he also mentioned Sauce Gardner. Oh, and by the way, he also mentioned streaming. I do think I am going to stream sometime in the summer, so just look out for that. But that's all I want to say about that right now. If you are on the Patreon, you could see all the secret updates I'm talking about. Also, join the Discord. It's linked in the description below. It's completely free. We're talking in there all the time. Sauce Gardner's interesting. If it costs you a first-round pick, I'm out. And I think it will cost you a first-round pick. And he mentioned something later on in the voicemail that I think is interesting. If you could position the trade around a specific player that's on the roster, then you can start convincing me that that's not a terrible idea. So let's hear what he has to say.
I think it would be worth it. So I'd say trade. The Jets are not in the position to win right now, and I'd assume he wants to win and go to a team with a bright future and a good ownership group and good staff, which I think we probably have the best staff and the best in the NFL, with Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, obviously, and then Patrick Graham. I think that's huge, for a young player like him, which I'd assume he wants to win here in the near future. We give up a 2027 first rounder for him. We give up a second round, 2027, and I'd throw in a guy like Trey Tucker, give Dante Thornton and Jack Bash a chance to really be a big part in the rotation. I think we should, along with that, I think we should sign Asante Samuel. I think we should give him a $2.5 million one-year deal, kind of a prove-it deal with injury clause in there, because he's injury-prone, and that's, everyone's biggest concern as far as that. Along with that.
Okay. Thank you for the message, first of all. I don't hate Asante Samuel. The more the merrier. The more people we have competing in that room, the more young guys competing, the better. And, he does get hurt a lot, so I like putting an injury clause in there. The 2027 picks, I wonder if you meant 2026 or you're meaning kick the can down the road and give them a 2027 first and second, and keep the 2026 picks. I wouldn't hate that as much as the 2026 picks. I just don't know the incentive that the Jets have for doing that. More than likely, we're going to be a lot better in 2027 than we are in 2025. So the 2026 picks would be more valuable. But throwing Trey Tucker in there could be interesting, giving Justin Fields another weapon with Breece Hall, if he stays on the roster, and Garrett Wilson. Maybe you give them a second and Trey Tucker, or a third and Trey Tucker, to open up Dante and Jack Bash. I don't hate that at all. I will say, though, not going after Jalen Ramsey or Mika or any of these corners on the market right now kind of shows that they have a lot more confidence in their cornerback room than we do, or than the fans think that they do at the moment, because we're talking about Mike Hill and Jalen Ramsey and Sauce Gardner. They could make these moves, theoretically, and they're not right now. So that's pretty interesting to me that they're kind of holding back on making those moves. So, only time will tell. Only time will tell, but thank you for the voicemail. So we got one more here. And then we'll see if anybody calls in. But if not, I will, I'll see you Thursday on Bleach Report.
Yo, this is my first time watching your video and just pulled up a video about Geno Smith rookie Dante Thornton is number 1 wideout. So I have a question for you. How long do you think the Raiders would have to rebuild? And do you think we're going to draft a quarterback this year? Thank you. Goodbye.
First of all, what a well-mannered young man to say thank you and goodbye. Thank you so much for the call, buddy. Appreciate you watching. Hopefully you're watching this video so you can see that you got on here and that I answered the question. How long is the rebuild going to take? I think this year will look okay. Next year, probably the last full year of Geno Smith in his prime, 2026 into 2027, with Jack Best, Genty, and Dante Thornton going into their second year, another first-round pick that we've used. We've got Crosby. We've got Jacoby Myers still. We've got all these pieces. The offensive line that's young right now is developing into what it could be. Brock Bowers entering his prime. I think 2026 and 2027, the rebuild would be complete, which means that we can really contend for a playoff spot, a playoff win or two, and contend for the division in 2026, 2027. We maybe could do that this year, but I think that would be overachieving if we're looking at it realistically. Do we draft a quarterback next year? I think we do. And I actually have those pulled up for you right here, buddy. So I'm going to pull this up right here. I love this website. Okay, it is NFLDraftBuzz.com, and it's got all the prospects here. It's obviously got the top 3 being Arch Manning, Garrett Nussmeier, and Cade Klubnik. Now, assuming we're not drafting in the top 10, because all of these 4 guys, 3, definitely 4, maybe 5 guys are drafting in the top 10, or will get drafted in the top 10. Assuming we have like the 14th or 15th pick, which I think is a little more realistic. Yeah, you guys are going to hate me for saying it, but I love him. Drew Aller is absolutely my guy. So let's look at who I would take. And it's Drew Aller. 6'5", 238. I went to college with him. I saw him a few times with my own eyes. Never spoke a word to him, but everything I've heard is that he's a wonderful human being. Mobile pocket passer, 4'9". That's unofficial. We'll see what he runs when he actually runs in the combine. Pro comparison, similar. Will Howard, Jackson Dart, Cam Ward. Drew Aller's draft bio. The prototype build signal caller from Media, Ohio, arrived at Penn State after as one of the nation's most coveted recruits, and his development has validated the hype. After the Medina County records with over 9,000 passing yards. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay. In 2024, his meteoric rise continued, where he showcased dramatic improvement in accuracy and decision-making while leading Penn State to its first Big Ten championship appearance since 2008. I mean, I'm totally in. I'm totally in on Drew Aller. Looking ahead to his NFL projection, Aller profiles as a blue-chip prospect who could thrive in a vertical passing system that maximizes his arm talent while allowing him to create outside structure. His combination of size, arm strength, and development feel for the pocket draws favorable comparisons to Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming, a trait-based prospect whose physical tools translated immediately while the finer points caught up. I mean, I'm in. Aller projects as the kind of prospect teams will position themselves to select at the top of the 2026 draft with another year to refine his mechanics and processing speed and familiar system. He has the potential to enter the draft as one of the most complete quarterback prospects in recent years. His blend of physical tools, rapidly improving mental acumen, and proven ability to make significant year-to-year improvements gives him franchise-altering potential at the next level. I would trade up for Drew Aller. I would take him if we had him in the spot that we have him in. I think that's the guy. Let him sit under Geno Smith for 1 year. Hand him the reins in 2027. Rebuild is complete. We've got our Josh Allen. Hand it to Ashton Genty. Throw in to Brock Bowers. And the division is ours. What do you think about that, young man? Here's what I will say. Somebody did say in one of the voicemails, I've been subscribed to you since about 5K subscribers. Comment below how long you've been subscribed. Like, what number subscriber were you? And also, let me know what prospect, quarterback-wise, you are looking at the most in 2026. Is it Nico? Is it Sellers? Is it Cade? Is it Arch Manning? Who do you want us to draft? Do you want us to trade up for somebody or not? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Like I said, if you join the Patreon, which is a pinned comment and link in the description below, you can get your name at the end of the credits like all these people right here. You can call in live every week. You have the ability to call in live and ask a question live on the air. You get videos like this days in advance. You get exclusive content that's never going to be posted on YouTube. For the $10 tier, you get so much more, and you get all my videos ad-free. like button is huge. It helps out tremendously. Comment, and please be sure to subscribe. It is free after all, no charge to you. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.